there nonsense?
I don't know, just a little nonsense on that table. It's all right.
This thing?
Yeah.
This wasn't in the shot.
Oh, okay. Well, now it is. Now you've drawn attention to it. Leia? Okay.
Princess Leia.
Sure. That works.
Hold on. You got a copy of that book you read?
No, actually, I don't think I have anything useful. It's all right. Linus. Okay.
And this turtle.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, turtle. I love that turtle. I got him at a Cracker Barrel. I just liked him so much.
These pop figurines don't have anything to do. We're not talking about Princess Leia. I don't think. And unless you read like a Peanuts collection book, I don't think we're talking.
No, I didn't.
Linus. Are we talking anything Turtles related?
Turtles All the Way Down is probably on the young adult bestseller list, but
Oh yeah.
I
Well,
don't think we're doing that.
no.
All right.
That doesn't. Actually, I think I looked and it wasn't. I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Movement. Hold on. I'm going to close this thing.
Okay. But it looks like you have an angelic presence behind you.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe like you're not real and I'm recording this podcast by myself.
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. Record good. How was that? That felt better than I had expected.
Was that like E.T.?
Yeah.
Okay.
Record good.
It's pretty good.
I don't know where it is. All right.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Ready, willing, and able.
What?
Ready, willing, and able.
All right. Are you really ready?
Yeah.
All right. It's a weird energy in this room right now.
Really?
What's going? Yeah, it's kind of chaotic. Do you feel that?
I do, yeah.
Like we both had Pepsi, and like
I didn't have Pepsi.
I didn't have Pepsi either,
Yeah.
so I don't. What do you think this is?
I don't have a lot of pineapple.
That's it. Yeah.
Antioxidants and
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Could be.
And I was around you while you were eating those pineapples.
I think we've solved it.
So I had like secondhand pineapple.
I think we've solved it.
All right, it was a drive-by fruiting.
Huh. That's fun.
From the movie
Yeah, I know. What is that?
Doubtfire.
Yes.
Of the misses.
Good movie.
All right, are we set?
Yeah, man.
I don't want to record and then have a bunch of chair movements.
No, I'm
happening.
easy like Sunday morning. Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
187.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did.
Okay. Welcome to episode 187 of the All the Book Show, recorded at the David A. Hale Public Library, where we talk book news, author news, and literary news, and sometimes author interviews.
Sometimes.
So, I'm Eric Miggles.
And I'm Nick Gunning. You know what's funny? Before we started recording, you were like 187, 187. Then you started recording, you were like, we're nursing.
Yeah.
And that's not even a number.
I don't know what happened with that number yet.
I don't either. But you know what I do know what happened with?
What?
Our author interview.
Oh.
This is
Sure.
We had a chat on Friday with Elisabeth Elo, author of Finding Katarina M. Elisabeth is our first repeat author guest.
Yeah.
She first joined us for the show in episode 132 when the book club was doing her debut novel, North of Boston,
Right.
which I was a big fan of and equally enjoyed Finding Katarina M. So we sat down with her on the phone and had a great chat, which we're going to get into a little later. The book is out March 19th, so tomorrow as we record, and I highly recommend it. It's a good, quick, it's a fast-paced read, so definitely check that out. And we're going to talk to her a little bit later. Plus, we've got some awards we want to mention and all sorts of stuff. Eric's got to tell you about G.I. Joes. We got a chocked full. We've got a chocked full episode.
What was the last volume of G.I. Joe I talked about?
Four?
Oh, I guess I do have something.
Yeah, I figured. I figured.
All
right, let's dive in. You ready to do bookmark?
Sure.
Okay. Would you like me to go first?
Yeah, open up your little annotated Bible there.
No, it's just a little blue notebook. That's all. Here we go. Annotated Bibles are huge. I don't think you could lift an annotated Bible with one hand.
I don't know what I was thinking of that.
Anyway.
Your devotional.
All right.
Looks like a tiny little devotional.
I read American Marriage by T.R.E. Jones. Do you remember that one? It was on the bestseller list for a long time. And it's about, the synopsis was
I'm living it.
Sorry. The synopsis was about how they're married, but the husband goes away to prison for 12 years.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
It was an Oprah Book Club pick last year. Anyway, I've had it on hold for a long time.
Right.
And it finally came in, and so I read it, and I really enjoyed it. I've not read this author before. And that is basically the plot that I just told you there.
Oh.
Newlywed couple, been married about a year. The husband gets arrested for a crime that he claims he's innocent of and is sent to prison. So then they have to deal with it.
Okay.
It was good. It's split between three different characters: the husband, wife, and the wife's childhood best friend.
Oh.
Each one of them takes a turn kind of narrating the story as it goes along. And the audiobook has three separate narrators.
Ooh.
As you know, an audiobook can make or break it by the readers that it has.
True, yeah.
And we are going to talk a little bit about that later because the Audio Awards were announced. Right. So I do recommend American Marriage by T.R.E. Jones. Check that out.
Okay.
On the next book here, Superman Dawnbreaker by Matt De La Pena, Newbery Award-winning author.
Ooh.
Matt De La Pena, might I just say.
Yeah, you can.
This one was just kind of a wash. It was like, yeah, that was fine.
Oh.
My biggest problem was the original characters to classic Superman characters ratio.
Oh, yeah.
You had like extra characters, and I just think, well, why isn't that just Lana, or why isn't that just Lex? Like, why are you adding this layer? So I thought that kind of took away from it a little bit, because
that Batman book had that.
Did it?
Yeah, a lot of original characters.
Yeah.
Harvey Dent and Alfred were there.
So this is part of a four book series. You have Catwoman by Sarah J. Maas. You have Superman Dawnbreaker, Matt De La Pena. Who wrote the Batman? Do you remember?
Yep, Marie Lu.
And then what's the last one I'm forgetting? Wonder Woman by Leah Bardugo, which my wife read and loved.
I think there's a Zatanna book
Well, that could be interesting.
Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Anyway, right now there's 4 books out, and we're going to be talking about those a little later in the month, so we'll get into that. This one, I enjoy the character of Superman. It was a decent story. I think it could have moved a little quicker. I would have narrowed the focus a little bit more on the characters that you're there for, but ultimately harmless.
Most important question. On the cover, it looks like he's wearing a red sweater vest.
Yeah.
What color is that backpack? Is it blue?
Just a quick point of order. You always confuse cardigans and sweater vests. Vests do not have sleeves.
Really?
Cardigans have sleeves.
I know vests don't have
open.
sleeves, but I thought a sweater vest could have sleeves.
No.
It's
still a
vest. It
vest.
was a sweater.
No,
Okay.
no, that's a cardigan.
All right.
It's a cardigan front. And actually, I think he's just wearing a jacket. But
Okay. Jeez. Sorry, everybody.
It's a good cover. I like the cover. But like I said, the book.
My issue is that it looks like he's wearing a blue backpack with a red jacket.
Yeah.
And it's the wrong way.
That is messed up.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Yeah. When we saw Tom Welling, he was all in black.
Black and camo, like a camo hat.
He has definitely put
Yeah.
put away his primary colors.
He sure has.
So,
He sure has.
Yeah.
Yes, he has. Speaking of celebrities, I also saw the Indigo Girls over the weekend.
Hey.
It was fun. My wife and I went up to Bayville in Buffalo. Standing room only. Stood behind the world's tallest man.
Well, at least he had a shaved head,
No,
right?
he was the world's tallest man with big curly hair. So
right.
I basically spent most of the time seeing an Indigo Girl. Rarely did I see them both because the world's tallest man. But great concert. It's always nice when you go to a concert of a duo or a group or whatever who's been around for a while.
Right.
And they're still good. You know, it's not like that was fun, but you might want to lower the keys on some of those.
Ooh.
No, they were great.
Ooh.
They hit it just right.
Right.
So it was good. We had a lot of fun.
Nice.
But, bookmark.
All right.
I read The Apprentice by Tess Gerritsen. Tess Gerritsen, who we also interviewed. And you can find our interview with Tess and other women authors in our spotlight on the SoundCloud page, soundcloud.com/allthebooks. But this is about The Apprentice, which is book 2 of the Rizzoli and Isles series.
What?
And really,
only book 2?
Yeah.
How many are there?
I don't know.
239
10 or something like that.
10.
I sort of have read these out of order. But this is really the first book, which is called The Surgeon, only has Rizzoli, the detective, in it.
Oh.
And this is really like a straight-up sequel to that book, and then Dr. Isles is added in. So I kind of wonder, if we talk to Tess again, I want to ask if she was intending to start a series, or if this was just a one-off sequel to a book that then was like, oh, these characters have chemistry, let's keep going. Because that's what it feels like to me.
Right.
I always liked Tess Gerritsen's writing. The subject matter of this was just too dark for me.
Ooh.
So I didn't read the whole thing. I kind of skipped to the resolution and was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I was like, I don't want to be upset for the next week.
Only a week?
Well,
not so bad.
like while I was reading it, I guess. Let's see. And then I read a bunch of graphic novels, so I'll go quickly. I read the Supergirl Escape from the Phantom Zone and Supergirl Girl of No Tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
Part of the Rebirth series, which we have in the collection.
Yeah, we have
They
these
both
Supergirls.
just kind of stink. They just don't. Supergirl has no agency in these. She's always waiting for some other character to like tell her what to do. And it just doesn't make sense. You know, like I think Batgirl in the Burnside series is kind of like quirky and fun, but that works for Batgirl. Supergirl is like literally the most powerful character in DC Comics. So to have her like tying her shoelaces together and like tripping and waiting for somebody to be like, go here, doesn't play.
Just because you can move the moon doesn't mean you know how to tie both your shoelaces.
I think we've learned something here today. I read Jeff Smith's Shazam.
Shazam! Sorry, everybody.
No. It was warranted. Monster Society of Evil. I didn't really like it.
I gave it 4 stars.
I know you did.
Back in 2013.
It's it's just one of those things that Shazam. Thank you. Spends half his time as a child, so it's just hard to. It's hard to tell a story like that, and I didn't really like it. So, and I haven't read Bone or anything, so I don't have any sort of attachment to his art style. So it just.
Bone is a fantastic comic.
Yeah.
That is these days unfortunately named, but
Well, what is it, young adult?
no, it's younger than that.
Is it?
Yeah, I think Nickelodeon almost tried to put a show together.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
had like Christina Aguilera doing a song for it.
Really?
And that fell through.
Wow.
Probably for the best. Yeah,
Okay.
Bone's great. Bone starts very like comedic and silly, and then it just keeps going. It gets a lot darker. Dragons show up.
Wow.
It's great.
I think there were some dragons in this as well.
And what?
And Shazam.
Shazam! Right.
Oh, that's it. That's
All
it. No. You know what? I
Yeah.
read The Last Age of Magic, which is the brand new
Justice
League Dark collection.
I was so excited that you had this, and then I realized you got it as an advanced reader copy digitally.
I did, but I'm talking about it now because it's officially out. So
Oh.
now we can get it. It's really good. Justice League Dark follows DC's magic characters,
Yeah.
and this round they're using Wonder Woman in there as well, and using her quite well. So it's a good use of Wonder Woman, a different use of Wonder Woman, and a good use of some like not A-list characters, including Detective Chimp.
It looks like Mr. John Constantine isn't on the cover.
He's there.
Oh, okay.
He's there. I don't know if he's on the cover, but he is part of it.
All right.
That's it. But I do recommend it. It just came out last week, I think. So
Yeah.
Anyway, check it out. And then finally, I'm currently reading The Chef by James Patterson and Max
You
Delalo.
didn't tell me that.
We've been for the last several weeks. This has been in the New York Times bestseller list, and we always make fun of it because he's like a celebrity chef,
He's a celebrity chef.
detective, and so it
Like,
popped up on Overdrive, and I
who-
was like, check out. I got to know
Who's the guy with the Mountain Dew colored hair?
Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri. Yeah,
Oh.
It's like Guy Fieri solving mysteries.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a less annoying way, but
What if? Okay,
all right.
Scooby-Doo and Shaggy
Like zoinks.
convince Freddy and the rest to
Mhm.
turn the Mystery Machine into a food truck,
Mm-hmm.
but they're still solving mysteries.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
First of all, Daphne and Velma do not like being called the rest. Okay.
Well, okay, but
You can the rest Scrappy, and that's it. That is it.
I'm sorry.
Would I watch that movie? Yes, I would.
Yeah, is Guy Fieri in it?
I think he
this-
has
he
been
has
in
to
one.
be.
I think
Is
he
he?
is. I think he was in the one we showed last year, the gourmet ghosts or whatever.
Oh,
I think he's a voice
okay.
in that.
That's funny.
I guess.
All right.
And then the only other thing I was going to mention, because the Shazam movie is coming out
Shazam.
later this month. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And the DC app, DC Universe,
Mhm.
has put out a remastered version of the 70s Filmation.
Oh, they remastered it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Shazam show, which I've never seen. It's like this is like a hole in my superhero watching. I've never seen a second of this show.
What was the genie one that Hanna-Barbera did? The two kids, like I think they
Yeah.
both had a ring. If they put them, they get it like a genie.
Yes.
Wasn't that also Shazam?
I think it was. I don't know. We'll have to look at it. I don't think it's
What-
Shazam, but
What was the Shaq movie?
Kazam.
Maybe it's Kazam. All right.
Anyway, this series is nonsensical. It's made by Filmation. Filmation's thing was like, let's make super cheap content, and typically they would do cartoons. So like they did the Star Trek animated series, they did the Brady Kids animated series. A lot of those like 70s cartoons that are using a lot of the same music and a lot of the same like
Right.
animation overlays. Filmation. So this is a live action show. It's about 20 minutes long. It's a teenage Billy Batson driving around the countryside in a Shazam RV with an old man who he simply calls Mentor.
Right.
They drive around looking for trouble that they can fix the trouble.
Right. They're looking for trouble.
And then if things get real out of control,
Uh-huh.
the I don't even know what they're called. Like the
Uh-huh.
elders or whatever speak to Billy, and they're animated.
Mhm.
They're animated. So it's like, yeah.
Okay.
So they'll like
What
talk
year
to
is this?
70s.
The 70s.
So they'll talk to him and they'll be like, you will learn that you might have to, go outside of your comfort zone to solve this problem. And one of the voices of these like elders who are telling Billy Batson what to do, Mr. Adam West, the late great Adam West.
Wow.
I don't know.
So is this?
So then they tell him this, and then he finds kids who were like, come on, smoke marijuana. And then
oh,
he's like, Shazam. And there's like one animation for
he
Shazam.
breaks the pot dealer's
So
neck
funny.
or something.
It's just Billy standing there with like multicolored lights
Uh-huh.
in the background, and then it switches to the Captain Marvel guy who is just
Mhm.
standing there, like completely stone faced.
Right.
No, it's not
Stoned
dynamic. He's
face.
not like He's just
Yeah.
like.
So
just
is
staring.
this a
And then he
contemporary?
goes and he solves some things, and then it wraps up, and then afterwards, Captain Marvel is like, "Hi everyone, I'm Captain Marvel. Today Billy found out," and it ends with like a moral.
Is this a contemporary to like Incredible Hulk and ISIS?
It is with ISIS.
Yeah.
The ISIS, not the terrorist cell, but the
Right.
but the 70s live action is a
Right.
spin-off from Shazam.
What?
Yeah, and ISIS is in it.
Uh-huh.
And then Billy and Captain Marvel are in the ISIS show a couple of times as well.
So this is a case where the spin-off became more popular.
I guess.
One of the rare instances?
Well, no, I don't
Yeah.
even think that's true because ISIS doesn't have a lot of episodes, and Shazam is 3 full seasons.
Yeah, but I never hear anyone. I still
Yeah.
know people who will talk about like.
Because it's weird. He's
Yeah.
just like running around in an RV. So I don't know. My son and I have been
Is
watching
Wonder
it
Woman
together.
on at the same time?
Yeah, I think it is contemporary with Wonder Woman,
so
but there's no
DC's
crossovers.
like just doing. See, that's a mistake. They
Yeah.
should have had a crossover. That would have been
Probably. It would have been great. Anyway, if you have the DC app and can watch the Shazam show, it might be worth just looking at it
Yeah.
because it's very odd. And I think it is available on certain DVDs. But
great. And if you're
Anyway,
wondering
that's it for
what
me.
the Hanna-Barbera Genie cartoon was,
Oh, I
it
was.
Shazam.
Shazam.
It's Shazam, two
Yes.
Z's.
Yes.
It's a giant genie that's summoned by, I think, a brother and sister, but
Yeah.
I don't know. They could be love
I
interests.
remember that show.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a fun one.
Great.
I think I just watched every Hanna-Barbera cartoon
Yeah.
under the sun when I was a
Yeah,
child.
I'm with you on that.
So,
All right.
uh,
Oh, hey, you know what?
what?
I also interlibrary loaned the first volume of G.I. Joe Classic,
Did you?
and I was going to read it,
Uh-huh.
but I started it and was like, oh, this isn't for me.
Really?
Yeah, so
Oh,
I
too bad.
didn't finish it. I was hoping to take this journey with you, but
It doesn't really get going until maybe the second, third volume.
okay.
So,
So-
but I can say that because I just finished the fifth volume.
Wow. You are committed.
Look, I forget the guy's name, the villain, but
Yeah.
they put together the DNA of a bunch of like historical leaders, and now they've created Septor. I think his name is Serpentor. I think it's Serpentor.
Serpentor.
Yes.
Well, that makes sense. It's like a serpent, like a cobra.
Cobra Commander's goal was to create a powerful soldier,
Okay.
but he realized all the best soldiers of ancient time became leaders,
Okay.
who now he might try to
Usurp.
Commander's position as commander.
Wow.
So there's going to be, I think there's supposed to be like a civil war coming up between
Oh,
these
here
two.
he is. Yeah. I'm looking at him right now.
So I was telling you this. We were having lunch, and I was telling you that I can look at a page of the G.I. Joe cast.
Yes.
And I couldn't tell you a single G.I. Joe because it's like, this is Ripcord, and this is Bulldozer, and this is Frogface,
Yes.
and this is Billie Jean.
You know what?
What?
I had this action figure.
Of Serpentor?
Serpentor.
Congratulations.
Yes, I did. Cobra Emperor. Wow. Cobra Emperor.
Yeah.
Codenamed Serpentor.
Yeah.
Do you have that for the stream? Because I think people need to see this.
It's on the cover, yeah.
Okay,
Serpentor
good.
is.
All right, good.
So yeah, I can just look at the regular cast of G.I. Joe, and I'm like, I don't know who any of these are. I couldn't like tell you their name because they're all just like they have these names but no visual cues. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh wait, that's the blonde one. I think he's
Yeah.
Ripcord. And so, but then you get to the bad guys. You get to the Cobra team, and it's just like this guy's got a metal face.
Yeah.
And this guy, it's just the bad guys are just so much
Yeah.
more interesting.
Well, this is what cracked me up in the first volume because they're like, we got to get the G.I. Joes together.
Right.
And it shows the list of them. And it just, I think any word you say could be
Yeah.
a G.I. Joe code
Yep.
name.
Yep.
You know what
Necktie.
I mean?
Yeah.
Pencil sharpener.
Yep.
Scratch.
Yep.
Big scratch.
Big Scratch. Yeah, he trained Scratch.
Yeah, big scratch and scratch. Coat hanger.
Yeah. So if I was a kid,
Rocket pants.
and you gave me like 4 G.I. Joes, I'd be
Yeah.
like, great, 4
roller skate. Sorry.
4 whatevers. But if you gave me 4 Cobra Commanders, like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. They mostly just look like Tom Welling in the dark colors and the camo. You know.
But what's cool, but the other thing that Cobra has going for it, besides having a more visually interesting cast,
Yeah.
is that they have more stuff just going on. Like G.I. Joe's like, oh, Cobra's back, and then
Yeah.
goes and stops them. Whereas like Cobra is dealing with like betrayals and backstab.
Yep.
If this was just a Cobra book, apparently in book 17, Megatron's on the cover.
Wow.
So the 80s are alive in my Goodreads.
I guess they are. I sometimes I like to sit back and picture what the people who tuned in to listen to Elisabeth Elo talk are thinking right now
Sorry,
as we're
buddy.
talking about Serpentor. But I promise you, it is coming and it is a good interview. We should have asked her about G.I. Joe.
We should have asked her about the death of
I'll
Wolverine.
send her a message. Yeah,
'Cause I just read it.
That's what you read next?
Yeah,
All right.
I finished reading some run-ups to the Wolverine, the Death of Wolverine, and then I read the 4-issue volume of Death of Wolverine. All of it pretty lackluster. Death of Wolverine's only 4 issues, and it still feels very frantic. And at the end, Wolverine does die-ish.
Whoa.
But it's all, none of it feels important. It just kind of happens, and you can just kind of feel like, I don't know. You can tell he's going from point A to point B to point C so he can get to the death. Not that the death happens because of anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I still felt a kind of sadness, but now also it's taken me so long to read this. He's back in the comics anyway.
Yeah. Welcome.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just it's skippable.
You've been on a bit of a novel hiatus.
Yeah.
Haven't you?
Yeah.
It's hard when that happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
I'm about like halfway through Caves of Steel.
Oh.
So.
Which we're doing for our sci-fi book club.
Yeah.
Which reminds
Thursday.
me, that's a good point to mention, the passing of Janet Asimov.
Oh, yeah.
Who was quite a prolific author long before she met up with Isaac Asimov, and then they worked on the Norby series together for a long time, and she continued to cultivate that sort of thing after the passing of Isaac Asimov. But she's got a pretty robust collection out there as well, so yeah. Sad to hear that.
Yeah, so halfway through. You didn't like this book very much?
I think it's very of its time, I guess.
That's true.
I think the concepts are cool. The execution was...
You definitely... I've told this to my wife because she's reading it too. You have to remember that he's writing a word count because this is being serialized in magazines. And you also have to remember it's like, what, the 40s, 50s?
50s,
he's doing this?
yeah.
And so they still didn't realize that women were people back then in these books.
I know. I did spend a lot of time, too, just thinking, like, how are we still having this conversation?
Yeah.
Can we just?
Yeah, there's an unfortunate chapter about his wife's name.
Yeah.
That's just like, oh, boy. Yeah. This is the most character you could give her, huh?
Yeah. First, the book was originally serialized in Galaxy magazine in 1953, and then came out hardcover the following year.
There's definitely a lot of I don't know, time wasting.
Yes.
With certain characters.
And stretch.
Yeah.
And stretch.
No.
Vamp.
Don't tell him just
Vamp.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of vamping. So, but some of it actually is still pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I think it'll be a good for discussion anyway.
Yeah. So that's
okay.
It.
Should we move into some book news?
Yeah.
All right.
I guess that's awards then.
Let's do it. Yeah. Fire up the old theme song.
Oh yeah.
All right. So first, I want to mention the Barnes and
Was
Noble.
that what we used on our travelogue episode?
No, we used the Sexy New Book Club thing.
Oh, right.
The one
right.
that's like...
Yeah.
Yeah, our thanks to Ben Lehman, who composed all the music for the show.
And then moved to China.
Yeah, what the heck, Ben?
So we
Come
can't
back.
get any music from him.
I know. I wonder if he's listening right now.
Yeah.
Let's tell some embarrassing facts about him and then see how long it takes him to be like, hey.
Then we'll know, yeah.
Then we'll know. That'll be the real test.
Ben wet his pants 3 years of college.
Yeah.
And everybody knew it.
Yeah.
But nobody said anything about it.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Refused to. Yeah. Yep. Anyway, Barnes and Noble's Discover Award. So this is where Barnes and Noble pulls aside some new authors and is like, hey, check this out. So you can find the whole list in barnesandnoble.com. And you can check out all their past winners and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I want to mention the winner for fiction and nonfiction.
All right, who won fiction?
Fiction is Only Killers and Thieves by Paul Howarth. We can't stop thinking about this classic and timeless story of brothers and revenge, injustice and honor that reminded us of epic stories like Cormac McCarthy's Border Trilogy and The Sun by Philip Meyer. The Sun is pretty epic. I read that. We did that for a book club. Discover alum and best-selling author Paulette Giles loves Paul Howard's debut novel as much as the Discover Selection Committee readers do. Paulette Giles wrote News of the World, another very well-received book, which we also did for a book club. So this is Only Killers and Thieves by Paul Howarth. And the winner for nonfiction was Heavy, an American memoir by Keys Lehman. No relation to Ben Lehman, the bedwetter.
Got him.
From the Los Angeles Times, a deeply personal and unforgettable book from a fearless writer. This revelatory, critically acclaimed memoir not only exposes what a lifetime of secrets, lies, and deception does to a man, it also delivers a powerful story of truth, love, and freedom. One of the most important and intense books of the year. Unyielding, profoundly original, and utterly heartbreaking.
Sounds like a bummer.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'll give you quickly the honorable mentions here, which are second place, There by Tommy Orange. Second place for nonfiction, American Prison by Shane
There
Bauer.
is what they had to say to Tommy Orange when he got second place.
Yeah.
But still good.
Third place for fiction, A Place for Us by Fatima Fareen Mirza. Third place for nonfiction, Educated by Tara Westover.
Ooh.
So you can find those again at barnesandnoble.com, and we will...
Spoiler, we're going to talk about Educated again.
We sure are. We're going to put that on the old Twitter page as well, so you can check that out. That's the Barnes & Noble Discover Awards.
But then there was also the 2019 Audi Awards.
Audi Awards.
Which are not the same as like an Audi, the car. What's the car?
Like an Audi.
Audi.
You say a little bit
An
more,
Audi
yeah.
award.
Audi award, yes. So this is specifically, it's not really about the contents of the book so much as it is about the overall presentation of the audiobook, which we discuss this quite often in a book club because sometimes you'll just have, it can go either way.
Yeah.
It can make a bad book better, or it can make a pretty good book worse, or it can just make everything bad.
Yeah.
So here are a couple of the top prizes
Hit it.
here. Audio Book of the Year. I'm going to start right at the top.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Narrated by Bonnie Turpin. Published by Macmillan Audio. This has been a pretty popular book across all mediums, I would say. It won some other things, too. It was up for Goodreads Choice Awards, I know.
I think so, yeah.
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 The best audio drama. The Martian Invasion of Earth.
Yeah, okay. Is this... It says it's just a dramatization of H.G. Wells' classic novel. So is this just like they... Instead of saying, like, I don't know, we were listening to the radio, they put, we were watching TV or we were live streaming YouTube. I don't, No,
not
like, is this set?
I don't think that it's set in contemporary times. No.
Okay.
I think it's just set when it was. Martian Invasion of Earth by H.G. Wells, dramatized by Nicholas Briggs, and narrated by Richard Armitage and Lucy Briggs Owen. Published by Big Finish Productions.
Richard Armitage played Oakenshield in The Hobbit.
Ah, okay. I knew I recognized the name.
Yes.
So the difference here would be an audiobook is just a straight reading of the book. Just verbatim reading of the book. And an audio drama would be a dramatized
with some
script
sound effects.
version, sound effects, some music, no like she said after that sort of thing.
I listened to the Maltese Falcon dramatization once.
Okay.
So, and when they were in a cafe, it was annoying because you just kept hearing cafe sounds. Like, I'm trying to listen to the Maltese Falcon.
Yes.
So
some of the finalists, I should have mentioned finalists for both of these. So I'm going to go back to Book of the Year. Finalists for Book of the Year that didn't make it were An American Marriage by T.R.E. Jones. This is the one I was just talking about because it has 3 separate narrators, and they do a great job.
They bring it home.
The Beastie Boys book by Michael Diamond and Adam Horowitz.
Okay.
Calypso, written and narrated by David Sedaris. That's an excellent book, but I think what hurt it, because Sedaris' reading of those are perfect. They really are. But that one is so much a part of his like canon that it's not very approachable to just pick up. So that's probably what hurt it. The Good Neighbor by Maxwell King, narrated by LeVar Burton.
Oh.
I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michael McNamara.
LeVar Burton would be a good neighbor.
Narrator? Or a good neighbor?
Good neighbor in general.
You think?
Yeah, living next to LeVar Burton.
I would gladly do it, sure.
You think he'd kind of be like annoying? Like,
No,
he's like,
I don't think so.
Hey, that tree, it's growing on my side again. If you could just take care of it,
I
pal.
don't think so.
Okay, no.
I think he's easy like Sunday morning. We have a double tie here for best autobiography / memoir and best female narrator. Both go to Educated by Tara Westover, narrated by Julia Whelan.
Yay.
Best male narrator, Watchers by Dean Koontz, narrated by Eduardo Ballerini, published by Brilliance Publishing. Business and Personal Development, How to Be Heard by Julian Treasure, narrated by Julian Treasure.
Yay.
That is a slippery slope right there, letting the author do the audiobook.
Yeah.
It's no more obvious than with a series of unfortunate events series. Starts with Tim Curry, who's great, nails it, knocks it out of the park. Midway through, switches to Lemony Snicket, Daniel Handler. Real bad. And they actually got Tim Curry to come back and finish them.
Weird.
I know. They learned a lesson.
Yeah.
Any other of these you want to mention? I guess we should mention Fantasy, which the winner was Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik, narrated by Lisa Flanagan.
Yeah.
Fiction went to Tattooists of Auschwitz by Heather Morris, narrated by Richard Armitage again.
Oh, look at him.
Yep.
Thriller and mystery we should probably mention since
Let's do it.
People love those around here.
They do.
What are they?
Oh, you don't have it?
No.
Okay.
I
I'm
I got the covers.
Sure,
Young Adult goes to Sadie, Courtney Summers, and that was also at the ALA Awards that won. And you didn't like the audio of this.
The problem with the audiobook, I think, is that there's so much going on that it's not the type that you can just be like going about your business. If you really have to like sit down and listen to it as if you're like watching a movie.
Okay.
So it is a lot. It's well produced, I think, but it wasn't for me. I didn't like it. But you asked about mystery, and the winner is The Punishment She Deserves by Elizabeth George, narrated by Simon Vance.
Yeah. And then thriller was Crimson Lake by Candace Fox.
Yep.
So for all you thriller and mystery junkies out there, Those are apparently
That's
the best.
interesting. Candace Fox is writing the Harriet Blue series with James Patterson right now. So branching out on her
Harriet
own.
Blue? NYPD Blue?
No. It's like a 50-50 is one of them.
Oh, okay.
Liar Liar. Not the Jim Carrey movie.
Oh.
So anyway, you can find that in the full list at audiopub.org.
Nice.
I love a good audiobook. That's how I get through a lot
Life.
of, pretty much. Pretty much. All right, that's going to do it for that. Let's talk New York Times bestsellers.
Oh, Middle School was Sunny. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote that down too.
Okay.
Mainly because we're reading Ghost in our 7th grade book club.
Oh,
which
okay.
is the first of that. That's Jason Reynolds.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, and that's the 4th book, I think. So I thought that was kind of impressive that it still was nominated.
Narrated by Guy Lockard.
Wow.
All right. You ready to New York Times this?
Yeah. Wow, I did sound really excited.
You did.
Well, all right. So this is the New York Times bestsellers list for hardcover fiction. With apologies to George R.R. Martin, who's all the way down at number 15 with Fire and Blood. Anyway, number 10, Don Winslow's The Border, the 3rd book in the Power of the Dog series. Ooh. Art Keller fights to keep drugs out of the country, and it has taken a complicated turn. On the Border. What?
I just like your reading of that.
Thank you.
It was fun.
Number 9 is new this week. The Island of Sea Women by Lisa C.
Yes, that's Barnes & Noble's book club pick this month.
Well, it's about the friendship over many decades of 2 female divers from the Korean island of Jeju is pushed to a breaking point.
I'm planning on reading this. I just haven't got my copy yet.
Okay. Number 8 is The Silent Patient. Theo Faber looks into a mystery of a famous painter who stopped speaking after shooting her husband. This is by Alex. Oh, wow. I skipped it and then I went back. Alex McKellar. With apologies to Alex.
Yeah.
I can't. I've tried.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to previous episodes. I have tried.
You can't accuse him of having not tried.
Number 7. New this week, The Malta Exchange by Steve Barry. The 14th book in the Cotton Malone series. The former Justice Department operative tangles with a rogue cardinal in an ancient sect of knights. Okay. Just imagine like a cardinal in his red getup, like running away during like a car chase.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh no, that cardinal's gone rogue.
Yeah, there you go.
So what if this is like Mission Possible, and the cardinal pulls off his cardinal hat?
Oh.
It's Tom Cruise.
Yes. Tom Cruise himself.
Yeah. Ethan Hunt is the cardinal.
Well, he got kicked to the curb on Jack Reacher, so he might as well. He needs another thing.
You've gone rogue too many times.
Yeah.
Cardinal version of Ethan Hunt.
You choked in the end there, but it was strong leading up to.
Thank you.
Yep.
Number 6. Sorry, number 6. The Last Romantics by Tara Conklin. A family crisis tests the bonds and ideals of a renowned poet and her siblings.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Didn't you read this?
Which one is it?
The Romantics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I did, and I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. That's the one that is set in sort of a like near future dystopia, and most of it is backdrop for that. It's interesting. I liked it.
Number 5, The Chef by James Patterson and Max DeLeo.
Reading it right now. Reading it right now.
Caleb Rooney, a police detective and celebrity food truck chef, must clear his name of murder allegations. So, yeah. What?
I haven't gotten to any murder allegations. So
how far are you?
You just spoiled it. I don't know. I'm 3 hours into a 10-hour audiobook.
3 hours, and they still haven't been like, hey, did you commit a murder?
There's no murder, yeah.
So it's just been celebrity chef.
Yeah, he's just been chefing mostly.
For 3 hours.
Well, he's you know what? I guess he's under investigation for a police shooting, but he just resigns from the force and everything's fine. So maybe that's what they mean.
Okay. So wait. So this makes it sound like he's going to go like on the run for these murder allegations. And the way you describe it is he had to quit the force, and now you've got 10 hours of
celebrity chef. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I was having a pretty good time with him just food trucking around.
Yeah.
And then his old boss comes back. It's like, I need you for one more case. And I'm like, no, let's see what he puts in that gumbo. I'm curious.
All right.
I'm curious.
That's a twist right there.
Yeah, it is. It is certainly
Number
a twist.
4.
Well, I'll keep you posted.
Okay. Number 4, new this week, Silent Night by Danielle Steele. After tragedy strikes, a child TV star loses her memory and ability to speak. What?
he's weird because the other one is about the lady who can't speak.
Yeah.
There's a lot of husband killing.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of people going mute unexpectedly.
Yeah.
A lot of celebrity chefs. It's just one, but it feels like a lot.
Number 3, new this week, Daisy Jones
Celebrity
and
Chef.
the Six.
Hey. Yes, you know what? I read this quite a while ago.
Yeah.
And I was, you might remember, we got this as an advanced screener at the ALA conference.
Yeah.
And I devoured it quickly. And it's written as told to memoir about a fictional 60s band, but it's so dead on that it feels like it's real.
Right.
You know? For me, it does some character things towards the end that are just a real
bummer.
Some head scratchers that just make you think like, well, that's stupid. Like, why didn't someone fix that?
Yeah.
So I still recommend the book, and I think that you'll know just what I mean when you read it. But it is a very good read and unique. It's very unique.
This is by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's a fictional oral history charting the rise and fall of a 70s rock and roll band, just like Nick said.
Yeah, I did. I think I said 60s.
We should have trusted him. Number 2 is also new this week. Greg Iles has Cemetery Road. The journalist Marshall McEwen returns to his hometown, which is shaken by 2 deaths and an economic... what?
It's not stirred, is it?
No.
Okay.
Shaken by 2 deaths and an economy on the brink. So, and then number 1 is Where the Crawdads Sing. Surprising no one. So, Where the Crawdads Sings by Delia Owens. A woman who survived alone in the marsh becomes a murder suspect. Has been here for 27 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost half a year.
Wait.
It is half a year.
Wow.
Congratulations, Where the Crawdads Sing.
That's right.
Reese Witherspoon has really done it again.
Yeah, I guess she has.
Done it again?
She's done it again.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, that's going to do it for the New York Times bestseller list. Any of those that you want to read?
Out of these? I guess I might like the Daisy Jones.
You might
and
dig
the Six.
Daisy Jones. Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know. Maybe I don't care for any James Patterson whatsoever, but depending on how the chef goes.
Yeah,
maybe
I've never read one of his collaborations with Max Delalo, and it seems good. It seems pretty strong.
Right.
Like I think the writing is improved over some of the other hacks. What, Eric? That's so rude.
Snap.
I didn't say it. We all heard you say it. We all heard you say it.
No.
All right, let's stop talking about a bad writer and talk about a good writer. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Roll that beautiful music. In your life right now.
Well, I heard someone describe it as the silence before the silence, because publication actually doesn't really change anything. It just means that people can now buy the book on their retail site, Amazon, or they can go into maybe some bookstores and buy it. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything to me. I'm still sitting here, not feeling any particular effects from that. So the period before publication is probably the most busy and sort of stressful because, yes, I'm doing guest blogs, and I'm talking to people like you, and that's all really fun. But I'm also, sadly, I hate to admit it, I'm watching my Goodreads reviews. I'm waiting to see if, I'm checking my email, see if any reviews have come in. It's just kind of, I can't wait for the book to be published. When it's published, at that point, I say, okay, it's over now. I'm done.
Well,
I'm done with it.
Good. Well, you bring up reviews. It seems to me that everything I've read has been very positive so far. So congratulations. That's exciting.
Well, thank you.
All right. I'm going to dive in with some questions here. So last year when we were talking, you said that when you were writing North of Boston, that you had Perio's voice just right in your head. And that was a really, that kind of drove the plot. And you liked what she had to say, and you were going right along with her. And I'm wondering, how does it differ with a character like Natalie March? Because I think Perio was a lot funnier, she was a lot warmer, whereas Natalie's a little bit more, serious and to the point. So how does that change for you?
Well, it changed because as I was writing Finding Katarina M, I was, following Natalie March, and I'll admit I was saying to myself, boy, this character isn't as appealing, and is that going to change how the book is received? And I think to some extent it does. I think people read North of Boston really to read about Perio and to be in her head and to just enjoy her as a main character. But I also think that Natalie is, for me, a more mature character. One, she is older, but also, I'm not using her personality as an excuse in the book. I'm writing a plot, a setting. I'm writing a novel that depends on all aspects of a novel to succeed, and not just on this quirky, wonderful, first-person voice.
I mean, I think you're right when you say she's a more mature character, even just at their different life stages. I mean, Natalie's a doctor, she's much further along in her career, so it makes sense that she's a little bit more grounded. But is that more difficult to write a character like that?
Well, it is if you're good at voicey characters, which I think I am, or I was in North of Boston, and all of a sudden I don't have that to rely on. I can't just get by on the voice. So she's more difficult to write, but also I think she's capable of having a different kind of story because she's an observer. She's an observant. She's a scientist, basically. She's a doctor. She doesn't draw attention to herself. She's not, charming anybody, but she is observing quite a bit, and she's able to take in a lot more of the world and really be effective in the world to a much greater degree than Pirio was, because Pirio had issues. So people who have issues, they're always sort of half in their own head struggling with their issues.
Right.
And Natalie isn't there. She's 100% in the action of the book. So that makes her, I think, almost a stronger character than Pirio was, although everybody called Pirio strong as well.
Well, I think they were. I think they're just both strong women who see what needs to get done and just do it. And they go about it in different ways, but I think that core strength is similar.
Yes, I think that's true. And I think it's really important to have women characters who are just in the book to do what needs to be done. I was thinking about this the other day about, thrillers and male characters versus female characters. And someone, I think it was Karen Slaughter, wrote an essay in which she said that, female characters can't be just strong. They don't go on to the wings of airplanes and dangle at 30,000 feet
Right.
and, do all these amazing things. On the other hand, I think Natalie, she's not that, crazy, as a thriller character, but she's pretty strong, and she gets herself into some pretty tough situations and gets out of them. And in that respect, she's a little bit like, a male thriller character, although to me, much more real.
Yeah, well, it seems like Eric and I have been joking about this for about a year now, because it seems like a lot of the female protagonists that you see in these thrillers, things like Girl on the Train and all that, they're always coming from more of like a damaged place, and so that's what I like about Natalie, is that she's not. She's just curious and strong and like wants to get to the bottom of this mystery.
That's exactly right. And you see. A lot of female characters, they're either damaged or they're in some kind of terrible relationship with men. It's so often and so frequent that women characters are defined by their relationships with others, and that's kind of a trope for women. But Natalie is, she's her own self, and in that respect, I think she is a little different, and I think that I'm proud of that aspect of her.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's a wonderful character. All right, Eric, your turn. Get in here.
Hi there. So, with Finding Katarina M, it takes place in and around Siberia. So, what kind of research did you do? Did you get to travel around to that area in Russia and everything, or was it a lot of stay-at-home research? And did the research change what you originally had planned when you were writing the novel?
Well, yes, to all those questions. I think when you write about Russia, someplace like Russia, it's so different from anything that I know, and I was really a little bit intimidated about the prospect of writing about it.
Sure.
And so first I was online, and then I was reading books, and I started following this blog of a guy who has a blog about Siberia and traveling in Siberia, and I finally contacted him, asked him a couple of questions, and then he said to me, well, why don't you come and visit?
Hey.
And I thought, hey, and he
Sure.
said, look, I can connect you with a woman who you could stay at her house. She can be your translator and your guide. Wow. And I started looking into it. It wasn't that expensive. And I went. And there I was in the middle of Yakutsk, which is a city in northeastern Siberia. It's right in the middle of Siberia. And if you ever played the board game Risk,
right,
you will see that city
Yep.
in the middle of like nowhere.
Sure.
You know, it's the one city. And in fact, in the wintertime, you can only get there by plane or by the frozen river.
Oof.
So it's not a place where a lot of Westerners go.
Right.
And I was thrilled to be there, and it was exciting, and it was really interesting. And my friend, my guide, her name is Nadia, and she took me out to a little village of Saha, and that's one of the native groups in Siberia. There are a bunch of native groups in Siberia, and then ethnic Russians, but surprisingly a varied mix of different groups. And her group called Saha, Sakha, is really a group of originally from Turkey or Turkic origin.
Okay.
And they were terrific to me, and they welcomed me, and I stayed in the Babarnya, which I describe in the book, which is an 8-octagonal sort of cabin with sleeping pallets around the 7 of the sides, a central fire pit with the smoke going up to an open ceiling or roof.
Right.
And everything that I describe in that portion of the book is completely accurate and based on my travels there.
All right. So for your next book, are you going to plan it around maybe Hawaii or the Bahamas then?
I'm going to the south of France.
Okay. Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, I'm going to be going to a lot of nice restaurants. No, I love Russia and I love Siberia because it's like a frontier, and it's the kind of place that most Westerners don't know anything about.
Yep.
It's almost more mysterious to us than any place else.
Yeah.
Maybe parts of China or Mongolia, but and that's what attracted me to it, really.
So sticking with this book, I find it kind of difficult to describe. If somebody asked me, well, what genre is it? I guess I would probably say thriller. But one of the things I liked best about reading it was that I felt like I would settle in and be like, okay, now I get what kind of book this is. I get where we're going. And then something would drastically change the situation that Natalie was in, and suddenly, like, it's going in a direction that I never anticipated. And I thought that happened really successfully multiple times throughout the book, where you sort of like, okay, I get where we're at, I get the type of book I'm reading, and then boom, we go off in a different direction. So I was really impressed with that, and I was wondering if that was something you set out to do, to give it that sort of like a wild ride feel, and like, how did you do that? Like, how did you make that work so well?
Well, first of all, it is different, and that has its positive and negative impacts. It's different, and I want to read a book that's different.
Sure.
I'm easily bored. I'm easily bored with conventions. There's a lot of books that I pick up and put down again, and I wanted to write something that I personally would read and that I would stick with all the way through. So there was that, and and then the book just evolved. I saw it as something that happened in parts. There were basically 5 or 6 parts to it. And there was a lot that I wanted to deal with, that I wanted to touch on about Siberia, its history, its terrible history, its present situation with the native peoples. There's so much there. And mostly I wanted to have a journey, kind of a hero's journey, in which a female protagonist had all of the same kinds of adventures as, not as Odysseus, for example, or, any of the, classic characters like that, but sort of. I mean, I wanted it to be sort of an epic journey.
Yeah, well, I think you succeeded. I don't want to give away any of the things that happened, but there were a couple times where I was like, oh, wow, because it was just unexpected. So I really enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah, and there's another thing that I wanted to mention here too, and that is, I think it was Henry James who said that he described the novel as a baggy monster, something like that. But and other times, I think he also described the big. Someone described it as the middle as this big mushy middle. And that's when I generally stop reading if I'm going to stop reading a book, because the middle gets mushy.
Yeah.
And so I really structured it so that there wouldn't be any mushiness.
Yeah, well, that's
in
true.
the
Well,
book.
it's hard to sort of pick, other than like a page count. It's hard to pick where you're in the middle of the story because we keep having these different change of venues and things. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to read.
Great.
So last year when we were discussing North of Boston, you mentioned that you had to edit out a good chunk of the book, and I'm interested if any of what you edited out you found a place for in your new book, whether just research or plot or anything like that. If you were able to transplant it over to the new one.
Oh no, nothing at all. Because again, the books are so different, and the characters are so different.
Okay.
And I have this feeling that every character has his or her own story.
Right.
And Pirio's story was very dependent on her character and her personality and her issues, really.
Okay.
And then Natalie's story, it's just a whole nother thing.
Right.
It's a different world entirely.
Okay.
Was there anything that you had to take out from Finding Katarina M that was hard to let go of, or how was the editing process for this one?
Well, the editing process, I pretty much, by the time it got to the publisher, it was really pretty clean. I edited a lot myself. I revised, over and over again,
Sure.
as one does when you're writing a novel. And basically, I ended up constantly weeding out portions of the plot that didn't immediately contribute to the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like the plot of this book is a lot heavier and in some places a lot darker than North of Boston ever got. What was that experience like for you? Was it sort of freeing to really like dig into some of these darker issues?
I would say yes. I think I definitely have a dark side. I also have a light side. I mean, the first novel I ever wrote was a humorous literary novel that I published in 2006 under a different name entirely. So, I can go light and I can go dark, but it was very nice to be able to go dark. And of course, traveling to, and this is something where the setting kind of calls out the tone, because a Westerner's view of Siberia, and this was totally mine and of course totally wrong, but I think in my imagination, Siberia was a very hard, harsh place. And so clearly going in there, you expect, something very dark to happen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, are you the type who, you say you're sort of in the eye of the storm right now with waiting for the book to come out? And I'm just wondering, like, do you allow yourself a little time to breathe? Are you just going to sort of sit down and be glad that this is over for right now, or are you already sort of thinking about what you want to do next?
Well, I'm allowing myself a little time to breathe. Life has handed me a little time to breathe, basically, because, there's a certain amount of anxiety in this period that really makes it impossible for me to concentrate, concentrate on anything else anyway. So I feel like I'm molting, like I'm shedding this book. And really, literally, I see the book is coming out on Tuesday, March 19th. Wednesday, March 20th is a new life for me. It's a new book. I'm right back to the book that I was writing before. Yeah, but there's about a 2-week period which I'm in right now where I'm just, I really can't do. I'm good for nothing.
Do you have thoughts about the type of subject matter that you want to tackle in your next work?
Well, yeah, I'm already working on a book. It's a spy novel set in World War II, and right now, actually, there's a whole bunch of books like it coming out, which has me a little bit freaked out. But it's, again, it's a lot of the focus is on, female characters and really the amazing things that some of them did, which I don't think have ever really been known as fully as they should be.
Well, that sounds great.
I'm interested in that.
Okay, yeah, I love historical fiction, so I'll be interested in that one. Well, anything else that we didn't cover that you want to tell us about the book that you think people should know?
No, really, that's it.
Great.
I think they just need to read it with an open mind as a sort of a different kind of thriller.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I mean, I've been saying a lot of good things about it for what that's worth, so hopefully you'll pick up some fans here in Wellsville.
Well, I hope so, and I really appreciate talking to you.
Yeah, nice to talk to you too.
I really appreciate your support for the book.
Great. Well, thanks for taking the time to chat with us, and hopefully when the next one comes out, we can get you back on the mic.
All righty. Thanks, Nick.
Yep, best of luck.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, everybody. I'm back.
I'm back too.
That's it. We're back.
Are you ready to be podcasting again?
Oh, right. I almost didn't turn on the actual podcast. Yeah, let me do that too.
Okay.
Ba-ba-ba.
Somebody said my turtle looks tired or sad. He looks sad.
He's a tired looking
If you look close, he's got a nice smile, though. Look at that nice smile, a warm smile on that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're back. We're back.
Okay,
We're
good.
back.
Welcome. Thank you.
I turned into a chicken
Thank
there
you.
at one
Yeah,
point.
you Well, it was fun to talk to her again after having gotten into it with North of Boston to kind of go back to that and to see how the process has changed since then. What was nice about this interview was that it's right now. We were North of Boston had been on a couple years when we talked, so it's kind of neat to be right in the bubble of the immediacy of the book coming out. So we will have this in our collection. We have the regular copy as well as the audiobook. So pick this one up, and if you haven't read North of Boston, grab that too. We've got it as well. Anyway, thanks again, Elisabeth, for joining us. Always a pleasure to talk to you, and we will definitely be calling when this next book comes out. Historical fiction, it seems like in the last couple of years, even just the last year, really, it's always been a popular genre, but this last year, it seems like it's really been a big focus. A lot of the big books that people are talking about are historical fiction. So I think your timing is good on that, and I'm a fan of historical fiction, so I'll look forward to reading it.
Keira Knightley commissions at least 3 a year.
Yeah,
on her own penny,
just to get some film work. Sure, that makes sense. Any library news you want to share?
Oh, all right. Library news I want to share. Sure, I do want to share the
Okay,
news.
well,
I do.
okay,
Photo
yep.
show. Bring in your photos.
Yeah.
Teens specifically. No adults. Adults, if you know teens who take photos, encourage them to frame those photos and bring them to the library. They can bring up to 3 framed photos, and then we just fill up our exhibition room with the photo works of all the area teens, and not just Wellsville, the whole surrounding area. If you have to. If you're driving 2 hours and you want to throw your photos in, sure.
Do it.
Let's do it.
We'll take them.
And then also, what day is it we're showing this, Nick? It's the 5th. April 5th, we're showing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
The Academy Award-winning film.
The Academy Award-winning film for Best Animated Feature. Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse for our after-school movie.
Before that, in part of our Women's History Month programming, we're going to be showing A League of Their Own, which I only just saw this past year.
I don't understand your history. I couldn't map out your history at all. I'm like, well, he definitely would have watched this. He loves Tom Hanks.
I know.
He loves these type of movies.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no,
Nope.
I just hadn't.
Shirley Walker scored that.
What else did she do?
The Batman animated series.
Oh, okay.
You know what?
Interesting. It's a great theme.
I better double check that.
You're just gonna fact check yourself. Anyway, we're showing that on the 26th at 2:00. So I hope you can join us for that. The book clubs are currently reading Caves of Steel, which Eric and I are leading together, along with Anne, who's here on staff. That's going to be March 26th at 5:30. So come join us for that. And afterwards, we're reading Andy Weir's Artemis, so we'll have copies of that book at this book club. The Endless Winter Book Club is wrapping up with Big Little Lies, and we're going to meet at 3:30 on Thursday. April 11th, over at the Duke House. So we're going to have some great tea and talk about Big Little Lies, which is an excellent book. So I hope you can join us for that. We've got a kids show coming up in the auditorium on March 23rd. Mike Safuto's Animal Show. So it's all original music that Mike does and live animals. So
yeah, that's always fun.
It's going to be fun. If you don't like it, your heart's made of stone.
Hans Zimmer did the score for League of Their Own.
Oh,
Mr. Hans Zimmer.
He does have a Batman connection, so maybe that's what you were thinking.
All right.
But I don't think it was.
Why am I?
We're
Penny
also
Marshall. And she just passed away. She directed it.
Yes, but what does she have to do with Batman the Animated Series?
Nothing.
Okay.
But I think it was close to my research of Shirley Walker's work that was also Penny Marshall's work, and I got them confused. I'm sorry, everybody.
It was a wild ride, and I'm glad to have been here.
My apologies.
The last thing I want to mention is that we're doing a presentation on Six Horse Charlie, presented by Abby Griffiths, part of our Women's History Month programming, Tuesday, March 26th at 6:00 p.m. in the Nancy Howe Auditorium. Join us for that as well. I don't know what we're going to be talking about next week, but I do know it's going to be exciting, and Eric will probably have finished Volume 6 of G.I. Joe Classic. So hope you can tune back in again. Elisabeth Elo will not be here, but you'll have Eric, you'll have me, you'll have my stuffed turtle. It's going to be a good time. Yeah. So we'll see you then.
All right, the podcast is done.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Twitch friends.
On Twitch. Anything else you wanted to say real quick?
I don't think so.
To the video?
No, I don't think so.
Video Fiends.
I haven't really done anything exciting.
I'm playing Shovel Knight.
Oh, I haven't started any new games.
Oh, none?
Well, I tried that Fox one that we have.
Lucky
Super
Tail.
Lucky Tail,
Yeah,
whatever.
sorry, man.
Not good.
Yeah,
Not good.
that's a bummer.
It was like a game from the 90s, but also with all the pitfalls.
Mm.
Like you fall off a cliff where you can't see the edge.
Right.
And then you have to start all the way over, and you have a finite number of lives. It's not a fun game to play with a child.
There's a game that somebody made, and I don't know if you can get it or if it's just on PC.
Okay.
But it's basically made with Sega Genesis like hardware restrictions
Yes.
to make like a new Sega game.
That's cool.
So, all right.
I like it.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in.